next bit of news. So Windows 11 got announced during the week. It did, unfortunately, for Microsoft get leaked the week prior, but we do know now a lot more about it. And it's good news for gamers. There's
games.
Yes. There's quite a funny little clip of Sarah Bond, who she's come up pretty much everything, like with Bethesda and all this other kind of stuff. Where she's just clipped saying games. She's just constantly saying games through the whole thing.
Games.
In terms of like the big ones that I just wanted to call out, and then we'll just get everyone to sort of chime in. For me, the biggest thing, thanks, Mike. I'm literally going to have a mute button for you. The biggest thing I want to call out is direct storage. In my view, the biggest differentiator between like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and a PC, and I've said this a few times on the show, is the fact that you can actually assume the type of hard drive that you have and then build games that can support that. So one example is, we'll cover that as a review in this episode, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. I just feel the way that game seamlessly moves through. I actually don't know if they could do it on a PC outside of saying you have to have this type of SSD and we're going to benchmark it to make sure it works. So this direct storage, which is directly, lifted from the series consoles, will actually in a really quick summary, it's, you can take stuff from the SSD and pump it straight to the GPU rather than feeding it or processing it all through the CPU. So it just means that the sort of ability to use that storage like a console, to me, will then remove the only real differentiator that I believe is between the consoles, outside of it's a dedicated game machine, obviously, and a PC. So, another win for PC as always. Auto HDR, Swinny, you've actually used this on the Series X on your TV, right?
Yeah, so I've used it because it can apply to a lot of backwards compatible Xbox One games, and I mean it's awesome. It's awesome tech,
and it can be a bit hit and miss, right? Like some games and some settings, it can be a bit like blowing your eyeballs apart in terms of how bright it can be, depending on the game and everything.
Mass Effect, yeah. And Netflix and Mass Effect are the only two things for some reason I noticed on my specific TV where the red is way overblown, that it creates artifacts.
Yeah.
And I've played with the settings, couldn't fix it. I think it's just my TV as well.
Yeah, and that's interesting because when I was playing Legendary Edition first time last night, I was actually really impressed with the HDR in that.
It looks good, but it's just in my particular case with my TV, it blows one of the colors off.
But also, completely. I mean, we've got Auto HDR versus just HDR supported, and I believe that I could be wrong, but Mass Effect Legendary Edition is actually just HDR supported.
Proper HDR.
I don't think it's Auto HDR. So
yeah, and then we have DirectX 12 Ultimate, which natively integrates tools like Raytracing 1.0
for games.
And then finally, another big one for me, because again, you guys have got Series X, but I'm refusing to buy an Xbox this generation because the PC is an Xbox, and they're pushing even more into that with Windows 11, with the store and the integrated Game Pass in the store. An Xbox app is going to be on Windows 11 by default, and cloud gaming is supposedly going to be just fully integrated into it as well. So it's pretty kind of cool and interesting, actually. So was there anything else you wanted to shout out just about Windows 11?
Shut up, Mike. Look, no, I this is the way to do it to me, rather than like their previous approaches with Microsoft Store and going back further to things like Games for Windows Live and stuff, where you're obviously the PC is a gaming platform in general and always has been, but in terms of Microsoft's kind of own proprietary approach to stuff, this is the strongest, I think, out of the gate that they're doing with this. I will say a lot of this stuff they'd actually announced over the last few months about that this stuff was coming, but it's nice to see it all packaged together as a key feature that they're touting for Windows 11, which is great.
And defaults matter, like how you set things up by default. It's a huge deal. Like most people wouldn't even have the Xbox app, and I didn't for a while, on Windows 10. So the fact that it's just integrated in, it's part of the furniture, I think is going to make a huge difference. And people might look at it and go, oh, wait, I can pay like this small subscription fee per month and get all these games and not have to worry about buying on any other stores. So it's going to be really cool. The one thing just to shout out at the moment, and there might be more news about this in the future, but they have confirmed that there's only specific CPUs and above that will actually run Windows 11 when it gets to the official version of it. So it's a free upgrade if you have Windows 10. But I think if you're on like a Ryzen 1000 series, it won't run. Yeah. Mike, I think you're muted. I like how Mike interrupts all the way through, like with really annoying like little interruptions. And then when I actually ask him, Mike, he'll shake his head no on an audio podcast.
I was muted because I was taking my jacket off and I don't want to make a noise. I was respecting your talk by not trying to make too much noise.
Sure.
Wait, really? 1000 series? But they're pretty good
currently,
CPUs even by today's standards, man.
You know the Surface Studio 2 at this minute, as we speak right now, will not be supported with Windows 11. You will not be able to install it.
I don't understand the why. Like, what are they doing that requires so much CPU power?
Kind of doesn't make a lot of sense because some people have said it's because of the security posture. So the CPUs, the series and above that they're talking about have like secure bootloaders and all this other kind of stuff on it. But if you're an OEM, you can install Windows 11 on unsupported machines, like from the upgrade version perspective.
Okay.
So it kind of seems a bit weird that they would allow that, but why wouldn't you be allowed to upgrade? So I think, Swinny, you've got like one of the Ryzens that you wouldn't be able to install Windows 11 at this stage.
Yeah, I believe so. I think my Surface Laptop would be able to. The Surface Laptop 4, I think it is.
I don't think it can. Remember, it might be 3, but I'll just double check it. It's insane what's not supported.
No games for you.
I think that's like it's saying it's Ryzen 468 or something like that. But anyway, 468. But whatever. Like if it can't upgrade, it can't upgrade. I'm not going to stress about it because I generally don't use my PC for gaming anyway, as a primary gaming platform.
Yeah, I think the Surface Studio 2 is a big one. Maybe the one that you're talking about does work. I don't know. It's just a very strange thing to me. It's a very kind of anti-consumer where I think Microsoft have been pretty decent with that for the recent past, but I don't know. It seems like very positive for games. I think they really wanted to make sure that was drilled into everyone's head, and it was certainly successful in Mike's head. All right, let's move on to the next bit of